Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous, hosted by Bruce Hutchin. I'm so happy you joined us today, and you're going to find out a lot about whitetail hunting on the show.
This is Whitetail Rendezvous, episode number 358.
On today's episode, we welcome Chef Derek St. Romaine. Yes, Derek is a chef, and he's got some books to prove it, and he's also got some recipes that's going to have you really hungry and salivating before the end of the show. Derek's also known for something else, folks. He's involved with Backyard Bow Pro. He's a regional coordinator. What is that? A bunch of hunters got together and decided, hey, I don't need all this meat, all this venison. Let's figure out a way to get it distributed to people in our communities that are hungry. And that's exactly what they're doing. They literally feed hundreds of people every single year with the venison that they donate. So let's sit back, relax. One, here's some great recipes. Two, hear about a hunter that's really passionate about not just harvesting deer, but cooking them up Cajun style, as well as giving back to the community by donating to Backyard Bow Pro.
It's never too early to think about food plots. Whitetail Rendezvous has an ebook for you. Just simply text 33444 food plot to get your copy.
Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. And we're heading down to the Carolinas, and we're going to meet up with Chef Derek St. Romaine. And he is the founder of Backyard Bow Pro. Chef Derek, welcome to the show.
Hey, welcome. How you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, and I enjoyed the warm-up, and I can't wait to get into your head about some of the whitetail recipes. But before we do, let's share what Backyard Bow Pro is all about.
Awesome. Well, first, I'm not the founder, but I'm one of the first guys to join. Mr. Joe Lasher is the founder. He and a good friend of mine, an excellent hunter, Billy Stewart, came up with the idea, and I was one of the first people to jump on board with those guys, and I just help them to create the pattern to help hunters gain access to lands. And what we do is we do an extensive background check, proficiency test, and kind of put things together for a corporate way to get landowners, farmers, and hunters together, all in order to donate as much deer meat as we possibly can all across the country. And that's it in a nutshell. And to say that it's changed a few lives is a drastic understatement. As of this past season, we're up to about 420,000 meals that we've donated.
And, oh my goodness!
Yeah, that's a lot of archery.
Yeah, that's a lot of venison. So, that's a lot of venison.
That sure is. And we average it. What we say is that we get our processors to process a deer for us. We just grind it up. They normally charge us $40, and we normally get anywhere from 150 to 200 meals out of every deer. So for every $40 people donate, or however we do it, we can generate 200 meals, and that consider how many deer you see, especially in North Carolina, that's a lot of meals. That's a lot of help that goes a long way, and there are a ton of statistics out there for hunger in the United States, but 16 million children every night go to sleep hungry in the U.S. So we're trying to do our part to make that not happen.
Now, you're down in the Carolinas, so somebody's in Iowa or some of the other whitetail states, and they said, I'd just like to do that. Is there any possible way that they can send their meat, or are they just writing a check for $40 and going from there?
We'll help coordinate anywhere. What we do is our office is here in Asheville, North Carolina, and what we do is we try and create pockets of caring individuals. What we ask is that if somebody is interested in actually, joining and creating a group, you need 5 things. You need a couple of hunters, you need a piece of land, you need a deer processor, and you need a food bank. And we help facilitate all that. It's very, very simple, but it's just like anything. The more organized you are, the more effect you're going to have. If you got one person trying to donate one deer on one piece of property versus, everybody that I know hunts, so we all tend to stick together anyway. So if you get 5 buddies together and donate 5 deer on a couple of different properties, you do that a couple of times a year. You just fed a couple thousand people in your community. at least one meal. What do you think that does for the hunting, the ethical hunter in your area? It makes everybody look good. It's a win-win-win. So if anybody ever needs any assistance, they can call us. The internet is a great thing. So it normally takes us about 2 minutes to find a food bank or find a family, find a deer processor, and get things facilitated. Now, where there's groups, like here in North Carolina, we've got a lot of people because this is where it started, up in Virginia as well. It's very easy to donate a deer here. You just call us, and we'll have somebody close by that can come get it, or you're dropping it at your local processor anyway. And we, do our best to get the funding taken care of, or, many different avenues we can go down.
Thanks for that. And so if somebody wants to get a hold of the Backyard GoPro, how would they do that?
They can go to our website. We are a nonprofit organization, so it's www.nohungrypeople.org is one way. And you can send me an email if you like. It's Derek@backyardgopro.com, and Facebook, probably the easiest way. Chef Derek St. Romaine, or you can go to our Backyard GoPro page and inquire, and one of a few people will get back in touch with you for sure.
So, folks, think about that. I know I've been able to donate a lot of meat, especially if you go out of state or out of country, and there's always somebody around that could use your meat and would benefit from it. And there's nothing, better than realizing how much you've helped people that are just less fortunate than you and I. So think about that and check out www.nohungrypeople.org. So Derek, how did you get into this cooking thing? I mean, I did some research on you. I mean, you've got so many recipes. You've been a writer. You're doing a lot of stuff, and you're still a young man. So, props to you. But talk to me about, your delectable venison recipes.
Well, one of the things that happened with me, I'm originally from New Orleans, and being a chef from New Orleans, first of all, that always goes a long way. Basically anywhere on the planet, people know New Orleans for food. And I evacuated from Hurricane Katrina to North Carolina, and I never really wanted for anything in my life before, never really had a need. And I found myself within 2 months standing in line at a food bank, and was in a pretty bad spot, to be quite honest with you. Lost a lot, basically lost the business and lost all my contacts, to be honest with you. They didn't let us back in the city for 22 weeks. And long story short, I had 2 little boys with me, 3 and 1, and I was standing in line at a food bank in Hillsborough, North Carolina, and I couldn't believe it. I was shocked, honestly. I was like, man, how did this happen? How did this happen to me? I went from thinking I was somebody, I guess, to standing in line at a food bank, and I made a promise right then and there. I'm a church-going man, and I said, Lord, when I get out of this, I will take what you've given me, the talent you've given me, and I will make it for good for the rest of my life. And I've held true to that promise. And when I found Backyard GoPro, a little light bulb just went off in my head, because I deal with farmers all the time. I used to be the executive chef of the Duke Diet and Fitness Center in Durham, and all these little organic farms are all overrun with deer. And being from Louisiana, I didn't see that many deer. Heck, my first year in North Carolina, I think I'd seen more deer that hunting season than I had seen in my entire life. And I'm not kidding. So a light went off. And I'm like, man, this is how I can do it. I can start donating deer and then teaching food banks and other people how to cook it. Because I grew up eating alligator and crawfish and, every kind of critter you can think of. And most people don't. So it was very easy to make that transition, and Backyard GoPro has really been a life-changing event for me.
Now, in your bio, you've served up some nice meals for a lot of headliners down there in New Orleans, and of the people that you served, I'm interested in this. What was their favorite dish that you made?
Down in Louisiana?
Yeah,
my by far pasta jambalaya. And I make an incredible banana walnut bread pudding that I still have people ask for it today. Ask for the recipe, and when you're coming back home to make that banana bread pudding again.
Well, Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my FedEx account, not online. I mean, not on the recording, and then I'll have you make it up, and we'll send it up next time. We're going to have a few folks over for a little meal, and because I love bread pudding. I'm not a yeah, I am. I'm pretty much a snob bread pudding eater.
Hey, me too.
I am. I'm guilty. Okay, I get it. I really am.
Okay, so I have to ask: do you like it with fruit in it, or do you like it more the French, rich, creamy, dense bread pudding?
I like the French creamy, and if you're gonna have, if it's gonna be banana, then we have to have banana liqueur instead of the hard sauce. We're gonna have banana liqueur, and then just kind of let that ooze all over that, and kind of settle in the bottom. And it's just, oh, folks, if you haven't got into bread pudding, I'm recommending it. That's all.
I'm with you, and hey, we'll get along good because that's how I like mine too.
Yeah, it's just living as long as I lived, I guess I can say that I spent some money on bread pudding.
There you go.
Oh, so what's your favorite venison recipe? You go to if you're having some folks over. Somebody says, "Hey, we want you to cook." Blah 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 blah. What's your favorite venison recipe?
I make what I call venison fennel-ise sausage, and I know that's a funny name, but I take I grind my venison up, and I grind all my vegetables with it. I do green bell peppers, onions, and I take fresh fennel, not fennel seed, the fresh fennel itself, and I grind that up in there with it, and I grind some celery in there. And I use Star Anise seasonings, and of course my Cajun blend. And I really don't put a whole lot of fat in there, to be honest with you. I try and keep it maybe 10-15% fat, and that's it. And I make big po' boys out of it. And if you're from New Orleans, you know what a po' boy is. I guess if you're from the north, you'd call it a hoagie. But make those, cover it with caramelized onions, maybe some Bib lettuce on some good French bread. And I'm telling you, man, we actually when we do fundraisers down here for Backyard Bow Pro, I always make, probably 50 pounds of that sausage, and people go crazy. And I don't care what your background is. When people bite into that, they just go nuts. And my kids, I have 7 kids. Every time I kill a deer, "Daddy, we having sausage tonight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know it." So,
it's getting towards dinner time. I'm going, oh man, that sounds so good. And then on Facebook, folks, if you've never checked Chef Derek St. Romaine out, you ought to do that because I every once in a while I'll hit one of his posts and I'll go, "Oh, can we get it with this? And can I get fresh asparagus?" And then we'll do the holidays thing, and we'll get some really nice pork chops, and we'll get some mint jelly and blah 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 blah. And and he always responds to me. That's the funny thing. I think
I started doing Instagram, and I'm almost 50 years old, and I guess I'm a little behind the times sometimes. And my son, actually, my 14-year-old, says, "Hey, Dad, look at all these cool pictures of all this food." I'm like, "Oh, man, check that out." It was a few months back. I mean, I heard of Instagram, obviously, but I just never went on there. I kind of have a little cult following going on now, man. I got people all over the world, and I'm just taking pictures of dinner, what we feed the kids, which is the cool part. I haven't even really started getting into any of the things that I get printed in the magazines or published. So I find that pretty interesting that people like actually just what we do in a normal everyday setting. So that's making me feel kind of special, to be honest with you.
Well, in Instagram is I've spent a couple of bucks, figuring out social media, and the people that I've talked to or have talked to me say that Instagram is the hottest place to spend your money. And I'm not corporate, but I was in a corporate setting, with the people from the PR, marketing, blah blah blah, all that, and I was just amazed how one, the interns and the people who get running social media, they're under 30. They really are. And then there's some older people, in their 30s. But these kids really get it, and they can create so much traction for companies. And like guys like you and I posted my hats last night. I just got my first logo hats for Whitetail Rendezvous, and I had 56, likes or replies or messages or looks, within 2 hours. And it's like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness. It's
Yeah,
just
I started posting something every day now, just a little something somewhere every day. I was really intrigued. I was like, man, that's really and it's different people. There's Facebook, and I guess everyone has a different following. And
right.
I really enjoy it now because it's much less intimate, but you kind of get a bigger share, a bigger audience, easier. You know, it's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And with the Instagram and the Snapchat, I mean, there's a lot of different platforms, but it's for me, as hunters, we share our grips and grins, but we also share, our trail cameras and the whole experience and the adventure. And I know you've been a whitetail hunter for a long time, and yeah, we harvest game, we eat the game, and we put a couple of bucks on the wall, but it's the camaraderie. It's sitting around the campfire or at the in the camp, or we're playing euchre or poker or whatever, dominoes or cribbage, whatever your game is, wherever you're living. But it's the memories that we share that make a difference, and that's what makes Whitetail Rendezvous an exciting place to listen to the show, because I have people like you, and we talk about the whole experience of whitetail hunting. Your thoughts?
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think we're in a special time right now because we have all this technology. I was watching a show the other night. Um, the Wild Chef is a Canadian guy, and he was saying the same thing, having the same conversation I was just having 2 days ago. Back in the '80s, growing up in the food industry, everybody held on to their secrets. It was very hard to progress and become the executive chef or even become the sous chef. And, nobody wanted to share their tips and tactics and tricks. And it was the same way in the hunting industry. I remember when I met Tink Nathan a couple of times, and I remember speaking to him. He certified me as an archer, gosh, years ago in Slidell, Louisiana. And it was everybody just held on to their secrets. And then just recently, in the last, I'd say 5 years, maybe a little longer, there's been this explosion of social media, and you don't have that anymore. Everybody is willing to share. Trappers are sharing their information. Predator calling. I'm getting in the hunting coyotes lately. I'm absolutely loving it. So simple because people, they want you to succeed, and I think that is so awesome. What a much better way to share your passion than to teach somebody else. And that's one of the things I think. Having as many kids as I do, but getting involved with churches and youth groups and many other organizations, is being able to take somebody that's never been hunting before and sharing that. And you should see the look in their face. I think that's the most joy I get now. Last year I put 6 different people on their first archery killed deer, and that's been the best year I've had yet. So
let's just take one of those hunts. Let's just take one of those 6 hunts, and a young kid or older lady or young lady, pick one and let's walk through it and tell our listeners how you did it. How you reached out to that person. Then what did you do to get them prepared for for shooting, for the harvest, and then how you prepared them for the hunt itself, and then tell us how they were able to close the deal.
It was really, people get to see online all the passion that I have for what I do. I will tell you right now, I'm a whitetail addict. I always have been. And a good friend of mine, Andrew, he's been hunting before and always hunted with a rifle. He's actually from Florida, just married, just had his first child, so he's probably half my age. Lucky guy. But he saw, what we were doing as a group with Backyard Bow Pro, and he goes to the same church I go to. And, we hung out a few times. We're in a small group together. He's like, man, I'd really like to check out, archery hunting. I've never done it before. So with the connections I have and the people that I know, it's very simple to do. Brought him to a bow shop. He bought a used bow from a great friend of mine, Jonathan. So I knew it was a great product that was set up right because Jonathan runs a bow shop. Took him to my house, sat there and shot with my kids and a couple of guys from church. And, I guess it took about 6 or 8 weeks, really, with effort on his part and a little bit of guidance. With the equipment we have nowadays, it's pretty simple. If you spend a few bucks, I think everybody makes a pretty decent product. He was hitting the target within a couple of days, backed him up to 40 yards. And, I took him to my best deer stand, honestly. If you're going to take somebody hunting, go stick them in the gar hole, as we call it, right? Stick them somewhere that they're going to see some deer. His first day, he had a buck that I've been after for 2 years, had him at 25 yards. Yes, he got a little rattled, shot right over his back, but redeemed himself 20 minutes later and took a big fat doe. And the guy's going to archery hunt the rest of his life, or at least till his body breaks down on him, like what happens to a lot of us. But it was a great experience for both of us. What better way to share? What better way to learn together with somebody? And it's addictive. I'm taking a young man in a wheelchair in a couple of weeks turkey hunting out here. That's the highlight of my year. And I'm not a very good turkey hunter, to be quite honest with you. But he always has a great time, no matter what happens, just getting outdoors. So, social media does a lot of different things. I think it can be detrimental in some ways because people spend too much time on it and looking at their phones and not spending time with their family. But I think with what we're doing, sharing our passion and getting more and more people involved in it, it's just a win-win.
Wow, that's exciting. That one, that you're reaching out to people. Two, you get them lined out, and three, you put them on. You put them in the best honey hole, the best situation where one, they're going to see deer, and two, they're going to have a realistic shot.
That's it. And to be real honest with you, the same stand that he killed that doe out of, that was actually, that was in the beginning of the season. Around the first week of October, I killed my biggest buck out of. So I'm not lying when I say I put him in the best stand.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I can't stress that enough. Take somebody hunting and give them a good place to hunt. It doesn't mean you got to give it up forever, but I promise you, the feedback you're going to get, I think things are reciprocal in life. So, you give somebody a great adventure. I'm wholeheartedly saying this, man. I think Lord's going to give you an even better one in return. And obviously, that's not why I do it, but I just think that's how life is. So,
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, because you've known hardship, you've up against it, and you worked your way out of it. And if we can share, we can be a giver. That helps us along the way. I guess that's the thing.
That's right.
So let's talk about the hunting tradition. How did you become a hunter?
Man, great question. My uncle and my brother, rest in peace, my older brother, started me at a very young age. I mean, my uncle shot competition silhouette pistol with a Thompson Center Contender that I still deer hunt with today. He and my brother was 10 years older than me. And, being from Louisiana, and even though we lived in a city, the swamp is right there. You're not 20 minutes in any direction. New Orleans is an island, so you got to cross a bridge to get out of it. So there's water and swamps all around you. And duck hunting, deer hunting, running crawfish traps, catching alligators, turtle lines. I mean, you name it, we did it growing up. And I can't imagine not doing that. Being a chef, growing up, I never once thought about being a chef. I grew up in the kitchen with my grandmother. My mom, Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but you're not the best cook. I didn't get my cooking techniques from you. I got a lot from her, but it wasn't cooking. I learned a lot of cooking from my grandmother and my grandfather. And, from going out in Lake Pontchartrain and catching trout and redfish, flounders, and coming home and having fish fries, and then going out running crawfish traps and having crawfish boils. I kind of became a chef by necessity because in 1987, when we had a little oil crash there, the river shut down and everybody lost their job. And a good friend of mine was a manager at Roost Chris Steakhouse. So he said, "Hey, why don't you come work for us?" I was like, "Man, can you make any money doing that?" And he's like, "What? Are you serious?" I didn't know. I mean, we grew up eating homemade meals by mom and grandma. And I remember it vividly. My first day at work, I think I just turned 18 years old. I said, I'll do this the rest of my life, and immediately went to chef school.
Wow.
So funny how things happen. Yep.
Yeah, that's great. And, and I don't know how many days a year can you hunt whitetail in the Carolinas?
Well, we, our season goes the second Saturday of September to January 2nd. But I've been doing a lot of work with the Wildlife and Fisheries Department and the biologist, where we get tags year round and do depredation hunts and different things. And the cool part of that is we stipulate on the tags that they give out for that all meat is donated. So it actually helps us to donate meat to people year round. And again, that's not something that's done everywhere, but the deer population here is really huge. And they're doing studies, constantly, whether it's fetal records. There's a ton of stuff they do, and it's so cool. I kind of think I missed my calling as a younger man. I think I could have been a biologist as well, because I'm really, really digging all the studies they do, and they, finding out exact dates for the rut and, gestation periods, and there's a ton of stuff. So we've got a decently long season. Not like Louisiana, where it's August 15th to February 15th, but I think my wife is happy that it ends January 2nd.
Hey, take a little break here. I want to give a shout out to a new DIY in the Rocky series coming March 6th. And I got together with a couple of my friends who are DIY archers, and a lot of my listeners want to come out to Colorado. So I got a hold of gohunt.com/insider Brandon Evans, who's the research specialist over there, and we're putting together a great show on that. So, folks, if you're interested, make sure you go back and check Whitetail Rendezvous for DIY in the Rockies, and shout out to my friends over at Whitetail Stalker. So when you look at everything and in the warm up, you said, "Man, I got my plate's full, and I got these upcoming things I'd like to talk about." We've got just about 3 or 4 more minutes before we're going to give you a soft stop and give some shout outs. But tell us what's on the plate. What's coming up?
I got something really cool, man, that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Pigs right now is a big issue. Wild pigs and wild pig hunting, just like I was saying with the predator hunting. I started writing for Hog Hunting Magazine, which is a magazine that's put out by North American Whitetail. And I'm, to brag just a little bit on myself here, as far as I know, I'm the only chef ever published by North American Whitetail. And I do their Venison series every year, and quite a few other little, not little, some of them are big spreads in the magazines. But we're putting together a pig hunt to kind of see what the East Coast has for pigs over here in North Carolina. And we're going to have Hog Hunting Magazine editor, myself, Scott Boger with Performance Gunworks, Carbon Skin, and Raptor Razor are all going to team up, and we're going to put on a hog hunting bonanza and donate all the meat through Backyard Bow Pro. And see how much trouble we can cause out here in the woods at nighttime. And I am definitely excited. Like I said, man, I am ate up with deer hunting, and the pig hunting and the predator hunting, because it's at nighttime. There's something to that. There's something primal about getting out at nighttime and hunting. It just excites me like you would not believe. And then, I like going coyote hunting, but I'm not eating a coyote. But I will definitely throw down on some wild pig, man. If you've never tried that, I tell you, you've got to give it a shot. And from what we're learning with the pigs on the East Coast and in the South, we're going to have a problem pretty soon. So I would suggest you learn how to cook them, how to clean them, and how to kill them. So if I can help you with that, you let me know.
All right, and yeah, I look forward to to seeing how all that turns out. But right now we're at the soft stop, so why don't you give some shout outs? I know you got a long list of them, but do your best. And for a couple of minutes, you got the mic.
Awesome. So Jonathan Brown at Boneyard Archery, my brother, great guy out here in Brown Summit area of North Carolina. If you have any needs for any kind of bow work, he's the best around, bar none. Gary over at Carbon Skin, man, if y'all have not tried out this scent product, the whole line, we got glow smoke. You ever go to your deer stand and want to check the wind, can't see it, the smoke in the little bottle glows bright green. What a great idea. But great products, and Team Backyard Bow Pro. Honestly, folks, I can't stress it enough. Want to make hunters heroes again? Support Backyard Bow Pro. We're doing great things and trying to do just that. Build pockets of caring people and communities all across the country.
So with that, Chef Derek St. Romaine, thank you so much for just sharing. We bounce around quite a bit, folks, but it's Whitetail Rendezvous, real people in real places, and that's why I love doing the show. So, Chef Derek, thank you so much for being a guest, and I got to figure out how I can get some of that bread pudding sent my way. So on behalf of thousands of listeners across North America, thank you, sir, for your time, and thank you for doing what you're doing and feeding those folks, because if we all do a little bit, man, we can accomplish a whole heck of a lot.
That's right. Thank you.
Hey, we got a great episode coming up. Garrett Wilfong. Garrett is a pro staffer for Whitetail Stalker, but he's even more than that. He's a 19-year-old that knows where he's going. Yes, there's a lot of talk about millenniums not understanding or we're not understanding them, but Garrett's going to share some tips and some secrets about how to be a great hunter at the tender young age of 19. Listen up. You're going to learn a lot from Garrett Wilfong.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.